Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Today we are making an easy DIY receipt organizer. Receipt, coupons, tax, returns, all that sort of stuff. But having said that, it doesn't have to be a receipt organizer or a coupon organizer. It can be a generic thing. We make this one in the tutorial. This one is a generic one. So let me just show you what it is. Basically, over here, the first flap is for receipts. This is a removable notepad. You have this on your person when you're out shopping, especially now for Christmas shopping and stuff like that. This can be your shopping list, your grocery list, and you can easily remove the pages. And when you run out, you can make another one. We do that in the tutorial. Over here, there's a pocket for gift vouchers, pocket for coupons, tax that you clip in, like tax receipts and stuff like that, and then returns here. So you're out and about. Okay, that's the back. We did something a little bit different on the back in the tutorial. So the idea is you're out and about, you pop all of your receipts in here, you have all of your notes here, you have all the stuff you need. When you come home, you organize it into, if you need it for tax purposes, if you need it for returns, you want to return something, you pop your receipts in here. This is the one we'll be making in the tutorial, nice and quick and easy. There's a few different variations that you can do, which I discuss. I saw this original idea on YouTube. I'm going to link that video down below. I did change it just slightly, you know, just added a few little bits and pieces and just did some things differently. Let's get started with the tutorial. Did I say that it's a great gift idea? It is, because one, it's beautiful, and two, it's very easy and very quick to make. We are starting with 4 envelopes. It doesn't matter what size envelopes you use, which is why I'm not giving you any measurements, because your envelopes might be different. You can have little ones, you can have ones with the pointed flap, or it really doesn't matter as long as you have 4 of the exactly the same envelopes. Okay, grab your first 2 envelopes and turn the flaps towards each other like this. That's the easy way to remember kind of which way you're supposed to go. And now apply glue onto one of the flaps, and you can use double-sided tape or any glue to your choosing. Just make sure that you cover all of the edges of the flap. Okay, so I have glue on this one, and now I'm going to glue this one on top. So I will still have an available flap here in the middle. Glue that down, make sure it's nice and level. Perfect. That's what it looks like. We have that flap in the middle, and now I'm just going to close it and just press down firmly, and that's the first step done. Okay, we're up to the 3rd envelope that has to go on, and just remember, we want the flap to be in the middle. We don't want it out here on the side. So now what we're going to do is we need to glue this onto the flap that's already available. All right, so what I'll do is apply glue onto the available flap, always on the inside, and grab my envelope number 3, and remember we want the flap in the middle. So I'm gluing this onto here, just like that. And now we have, again, an available flap in the middle. Pressing everything down firmly, and also I want to remove any glue that may have seeped out, like some has seeped out here. There we go. Perfect. And now the very last envelope has to be glued onto this flap. So what I'm going to do, of course, is apply glue first. And now this has to go on. So I don't know if this is confusing for anyone else, but it's a little bit confusing for me because I feel like I just want to glue this down, but then the flap is out here. We want the flap in the middle. So I'm just gonna turn it around and glue this. So we're always kind of gluing this onto the back of the envelope. I suppose that's an easier way to remember. Okay, and now this is what you have. You have your 4 envelopes that are together. They're glued together, and you're left with this flap. If you want to keep adding envelopes, you would just keep doing that, but then it might get a little bit bulky. So you're left with this flap here, this envelope lip, and now all we're going to do is move this in here. And just be careful so you're not ripping anything, and just do one side at a time. And there we go, done. So that's pretty much it. You have your booklet, and this is what it's looking like. You have your front, you have your first pocket here, your second pocket, third pocket, and fourth pocket. Very, very easy and simple and quick construction. It is now what you do with it that matters. So, just as a side note, you could potentially slot your envelopes inside each other this way. And I have done it this way many times before, but not for this project. I do it this way only when I know that I'm going to be binding or sewing this part here. Because obviously they are not glued to each other, they're just slotted in. You could, of course, pop some glue here and then slot it in, but it can get messy, which is why I didn't do it this way. Okay, back to the project at hand. So what I do next, it's totally optional. You may not want to do it, but I want to create more space here. So what I do is I get rid of this whole section here, top and bottom. Totally optional, like I said. So I grab my little scissors and I cut all the way up to the top and then trim this off. And I'll show you why I did this. As I'm using this and popping receipts in and stuff, I have more of an opening than when these are left on. Okay, so that's just something that I personally like to do. Another reason why I like to do that is because I will decorate this next. And when I pop down my panels, that's kind of what it looks like. And you can see these bits. And I really much prefer this look when it's all nice and clean in there. And one more thing and one more decision to make is the following. If you leave your envelope as it is, every time you're popping stuff in, you're putting pressure. You can see it's already starting to rip because I was being quite rough with it. You're putting pressure on those points there. So what you can do is go around with some duct tape or sticky tape or whatever and make it more durable, stronger. I didn't want to bother with that. So all I did is cut the tops off, and you can see here when you have one part that opens all the way, you're not stressing the bottom part. So totally up to you what you want to do here. You can even leave that as the last step. So I actually decorated this completely. It was completely finished and I was really unhappy with that part that's being stressed. And then I went ahead and I just cut a very, very thin sliver off the top so that all of my pockets are open up the top. So you don't even have to worry about that now if you don't want to, but I might as well go ahead and just trim that off. There we go. That's all I took off. Very, very thin sliver of paper. And now all the envelopes, you know, are open up the top. So the next thing I'm going to do is finish these off. I'm just going to trim all of that off and I'll be right back. Okay, done. So I have cut all of the little bits and pieces off so that I have a nice straight line there. And one thing that I found is this very last envelope that we just slot in. If you're going to be cutting this open like I did, then this needs to be glued down. No big deal really. I'm just going to apply glue. Okay, problem solved. And I'm being really rough today. Look what I did, which is fine because the next thing that we're going to do is decorate it or make it pretty. So in order to save time, I've already prepared my panels. So you will need 4 panels that are covering the whole panel that doesn't have an opening, if that makes sense. So you have 4 of them. You have your front cover, then you have this one, number 2, number 3 and number 4. So basically you just get some scrapbook paper and you trim it down so that it's slightly smaller all around. You want to leave an edge, otherwise, you know, it's going to lift and all that sort of stuff. Next, you need some shorter panels because, you know, again, it depends on your envelope, but these are generally shorter. Again, I trimmed it down to size, and again you need 4. I have 8 panels altogether. You don't have to do any of this in advance. You just go starting from your first page, you trim down your scrapbook paper and you glue it down. Just make sure you get those edges. The edges are the most important. You can use double-sided tape, of course, but then it might be a little bit more difficult to position it exactly how you want it. All right, there's my first panel done, and this is the front cover of the project. Now I'm going to go in with my next one. And I like to put a scrap piece of paper underneath when I'm gluing, just in case if there's any glue seeping out. I'd rather it go onto this scrap piece of paper than glue itself shut. Okay, this is my panel number 3. In case if anyone's wondering about this scrapbook paper, it's from Kaisercraft. It's very old. I got it from somebody who was destashing on Facebook Marketplace. People always ask what paper pad I use, and I never mention it because I don't think it's important. To use what you have. I'm not promoting like the latest products or anything. I don't even know if you can get this particular one anymore. Lord knows how old this is, probably who even knows. Taking care of any glue that might be seeping. We don't want any issues. That was the third panel, so now we're going here, and I'm just going to keep going until I'm done. That looks really cool. I really like that. You can go ahead if you want, if you're feeling, I don't know, inspired. You can go ahead and cover the inside as well, like strips of paper inside. I'm not going to bother with that. It's just, you know, I think it looks fine just the way it is. And lucky last. Okay, there we have it. So that's all glued down. I'm just going to give you a quick little flip through. So that's the front cover, of course, and then we have an opening here. This is not an opening, it's just a panel. Then we have an opening here and here. It's the middle, and then just a panel, and then an opening. So in total you have 4 pockets, and of course you can use the panels as well. So what I did with this one, like I said, I wanted to use the panel, but the first thing that I did is these little, like what do you call them, nameplates, I guess. And basically they're just rub-on letters that I have had for years, and finally I'm going to use them. And so each, of course, you can just write directly on top. If you don't have rub-ons, you can print it on a computer, stick it down. This here, I'm going to do this next in the tutorial. So basically it's a little notepad that I made, and then as you use it up, you can make another one. You have this little slot here. And there we have it. So I'll do that next, but I'll show you the rest. So then I have gift vouchers, again, rub-ons, coupons. You can name your pockets anything you want. Tags. For this one here, I'm going to use one of these bulldog clips. And because this opens up very easy, I can just pop it on top of there. And that just sits in there like that. And then I can easily, you know, clip my receipts in there. Of course, you can do that, you know, on all of them if you want to. All right, let's do this little notepad next. And if you want, that can be your front. This opens up very easily, only the first page. These don't kind of bend back, but the first one really does very easily, so, you know, if you want to. So anyway, I have my notepad on this page here. As soon as I open it, it's right here. So I cut a little strip of paper, and I'm gonna glue just the 2 sides down right there somewhere. So very, very thin line of glue, because the more glue you use, the less space you will have, so your notepad will be thinner. There we go. All right, so just before that's completely dry, I want to make it a little bit spacey, because I want to be able to pull that little notepad out easily, right? Just making it a little bit roomy in there. And now you want to cut a strip of scrapbook paper that's gonna kind of go in easily in there. I did this ahead of time, so I'm not wasting time while filming, right? But it seems like this one, it's getting a little bit caught in there, so I might just trim it down a little bit. So I only cut a very, very tiny little bit off, and now that kind of slides in and out much easier. So the next thing you need to do is prepare your pages, and of course I've done this ahead of time so that we're not wasting time. And I like my pages to be slightly smaller than the whole panel that I have over here, just like that. And now what I'm going to do is take this to my sewing machine and just do a straight stitch or a zigzag stitch or whatever. You can put a little bit of lace to hide the stitching. It's totally up to you how you want to do this. But I'm going to do this exact same thing that I did over here, which is a straight stitch and then a little zigzag stitch and then another straight stitch, and it just looks really, really nice like that. And you can see all these layers that are visible. That's why it's nice to have like shorter pages, so you can see the panel, then you can see the backing of the notepad, then you can see the pages, you know, it just makes it look nicer. All right, off to my sewing machine I go. I'm just holding it in place with some clips down the bottom here so that the pages are not moving by the time I get to the sewing machine. So that's all in place, ready to be sewn. And here we go, there's my little notepad sewn. Of course, you don't have to sew this. If you don't want to use your sewing machine, of course, you can just staple it, 3-4 staples, whatever. And then I just have this on my desk. You can go ahead and cover it with another strip of paper or with some lace or fabric or whatever. So no sewing needed. And then we just slot this in. And there it is, notepad, grocery shopping list, done. And the only thing that's left to do is perhaps you want to decorate the front. I want to name what I want to use it for, but I'm not going to use rub-on stickers. You can just use, you know, something like this. This is an offcut from that piece there. Ink the edges, glue it down, and just write your thing. What I'm going to do is use some stickers. I have some of these stickers. Again, this is from Facebook Marketplace, but it's Kaiser Craft, just in case if anybody wants to look for it. It's called Art of Life. It's the same pad that these papers came in. And I'm going to use these because I think they look great. So I'm simply going to peel them off. And I like to use a little bit of glue just because, I don't know, I like to be on the safe side. And now, there we go. I love how that looks. And it doesn't have to be a receipt coupon organizer. It can be a little ephemera storage book. It can be a little Christmas gift, you know. The recipient can personalize it. Oh, I really don't want to cover this. I should have thought of this in advance. I really don't want to cover it. Maybe I can do something like this. Will that look silly? I really don't like this in the middle, and I don't like how the keys are kind of sticking out, so I'm just going to cover the whole thing with some leftover little piece over here. And also, when you apply glue onto a sticker, it gives you the option to maneuver it in place. I like that better. Yes, I do. It's not bad. It's not ideal, but perhaps I could have popped another piece under there. Another reason why it's good to apply that glue, you can just, you know, before it's dry. I don't know, what do I want to do? Let's see. Did this make it better or did this make it worse? I think either way it's fine. So there's that one, and then this one, and this one, and done. And at the back, of course, I left this one as it is, but you know, if you have little leftover pieces, you can make another little pocket, which is what I'm going to do. And there's another little pocket there for whatever purpose. And that's it. Really easy, simple and quick, and such a fun project that you can take many different ways. Let's see what we've got. We have the first one here, which can be for your receipts, your grocery shopping list, gift vouchers, coupons, or tax returns, or it can be stickers, project ideas, videos you've watched and you want to do the project, printables, tags. I'm running out of ideas. Journaling spots. I don't know. More tags. Sky's the limit. So, just one more point I want to make. If you're using envelopes like this, obviously it will be much harder to cover this because of this large opening. So it's probably better to use envelopes like the ones I've done in this video, or something like this where you have this straight line here. Much easier to cover that panel than to cover this panel here. Another option is to make your own envelopes. If you have an envelope maker, you don't have to do any covering. You just make your envelopes using scrapbook paper and you're done. You don't have to do any covering. You just pop down your little nameplates or whatever they're called and you're done. And there we have it. I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. Well, I'm not sure if it's quick yet because I didn't finish editing, or didn't even start editing yet, did I? But it's such a good idea, and it's one of those things that you can do really quickly, and I think it would make a beautiful little Christmas present. You know, Christmas is coming up soon. Perhaps I wouldn't do it this way, you know, tax and receipts and stuff. Perhaps I would do it as a little ephemera folder kind of a gift. there's really not much thinking involved, and it's just fun and it's quick and easy. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.